Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs podcast. This is season 6, episode number 4. Tonight's the sports edition, Andy. It's December 2nd. We're into December now.
Yes.
You know what that means? A lot of football is ending.
Football's wrapping up, playoff time.
In the NFL, it's still going strong with the regular season, but college is wrapping up the D3, D2, FCS. Everything is coming to a head. It's going to be very fun. So tonight's trivia question has to do with football. It's someone's birthday for the New York Jets today. Quarterback number 8, future Hall of Famer, kind of a polarizing person in the media. People love him or hate him, but it's Aaron Rodgers' birthday today.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Aaron.
Aaron's birthday today. The question really is something very basic, but it's how old is he? We'll get to the answer on the end, but it is we'd like to wish Aaron Rodgers here on the show a happy birthday. Now we'll get into some sports and come back to the answer at the end.
We're diving in deep here right off the bat.
Nice.
Right deep into the pool head first. Here we go. There was a few of these where the road team won and wanted to put their flag on the other team's field, and they wouldn't have it, and they all started slapping like little girls fighting.
Big brouhaha.
At least 22 FBS teams were involved in some kind of on-field brawls, fisticuffs, and other encounters.
Okay.
All right. Here's my soapbox on this. This generation of people, players, is just different. Our generation, you know how you stop that? You went back in the locker room, you went to their house the next year and kicked their ass. And then between that, you started dating all their women. That's how you took care of it. You didn't sit there and plant a flag and start, get off my field. No. You take your lumps, you go back to the drawing board, you go back to their house the next year, return the favor in spades, and then take the girls at the same time.
So you utilize it as bulletin board material, right?
Exactly. Everybody says, it's the beginning of the year. We see that game on the calendar and we circle it. We get ready for that game. I got no problem with the rivalries. I love the rivalry games because, to throw the cliche out there, you can throw the records out the window. Like we've said here before, for the pro sports, if the Vikings had 2 wins all year and it was both against the Packers, successful year.
Yes.
Gopher basketball wins 2 games. It's both against Wisconsin. Successful year. Ask Duke in North Carolina. If North Carolina wins this 2-3 games all year and knocks Duke out of the playoffs, successful year. That part I'm okay with. But putting a flag on the field when most of it's all turf anyway ain't going to happen, first of all.
It's not the right way to go about it, but it is. They schedule all these on purpose, the rivalry weekend, and
exactly
they must know that something's going to happen, and the officiating crew is all aware of it, that post-game things could break out. And, of course, 22 teams.
The Gophers win the axe, and both teams have done it for as long as my brain can remember. You take this big fake-looking axe and you pretend to cut down the goalposts with it, chop down the goalposts. That's funny. I get that. Ha. That's what you do. If you want to rip down the goalposts and go take them and throw them in the river, fine. That's your fine. Whatever. Now, was it Michigan and Ohio State? 2 of the wealthiest teams in college football. Well, the NCAA was going to have that, by God, and they find them each $100,000. That's nothing. That is nothing to those schools.
Yeah.
You know what you do? You lost 3 scholarships each. That's what you do. But even that wouldn't matter because they probably got tons of players coming out of there'd be walk-ons then. Who cares? You play at Michigan or Ohio State, you don't care. You really can't find those schools enough on stuff like that. Let's say, you did that. You know what? You're not eligible for the playoffs next year. Which you can and can't do. I mean, it sounds like a great thing to do. It's a little overreaction. But the college football playoffs is not run by the NCAA, so maybe take them out of their conference championships or some kind of TV money or something. But $100,000 fine is nothing to those 2 schools.
I like the scholarship idea, but
take a few scholarships away, just to let them know that we ain't fighting. Something to that effect. or just for that, okay, you each find $100,000, but you know what? Michigan, you have to put that $100,000 to one of Ohio State's charities. And the check has to say front, and vice versa. Just, you have sort of, here's $100,000 for their charity, for some of their charities, and vice versa.
Work. Yeah, that could.
You got to send those players to drop off the check at that school, something to that effect. But just let plant a flag. Let them. You lost. Get over it. That's all I'm saying. I just whiny babies.
It gets to be too much.
Speaking of, now let's start on playoffs. Gopher women's volleyball. Okay. There's their region, Lexington region. They're the number 2 seed. So go Gophers women's volleyball. Rah, rah, rah. Friday night, Beavs beat North Dakota. Woo! Men's hockey. Lots of enjoyment here at the Shadow Studios about that.
Of course, yes.
We were cracking champagne. We were eating hors d'oeuvres. We had a good time.
And then the next
night, it was a 3-3 tie. Now, it was not a CCHA game because North Dakota's another one, but Bemidji State's still fighting around 500. They're that middle of the pack team, but they went up and showed those big rich farm kids how it's done. So go Beavs. Speaking of, look at that. First time ever to be the second round of the playoffs. Division 2. Go Beavs. And the thing is, they're the 3 seed. They're the 4 seed. They're going to go play the 3 seed Mankato. Mankato upset number 1.
Yes.
So there we go. After Mankato beat Augustana, who's the 4, they beat 1, and the Beavs beat 3 and 2. So you got the lower seeds playing for the lower bracket championship there. I guess there's a lot of buses and shuttles from Bemidji State heading down to Mankato for it. Should be a fun game down there. Check it on TV, radio if you can. Should be good times.
Yeah, and the winner goes to the Final Four. So they're in the final 8 teams of all of Division 2 in the nation, and there's only 2 Minnesota teams left. And oddly enough, they're playing each other on Saturday. So big game. Should be fun.
We'll have a Minnesota team in the Final Four. Alpine Christian's first win in FCS playoff history. Congratulations, ACU.
The first ever.
But wait.
There's more.
You get to play the Bison on Saturday.
Uh-oh.
Come up to Fargo. Pack your long underwear, even though they're in a dome. Yeah, it was a good run. You're playing the Bison. Still was a good run.
Yeah, they're down in Texas. So this will be very chilly for them, but they'll get a rude awakening to the 20,000, 19,000 fans there in the Fargo Dome.
Yes. Now, the Chicago Bears, say what you will about the coaching and the players, have lost 4 really tough games in the last 4 weeks. 4 games they should have won. But they had Lovie Smith as a coach, who goes 10-6 last year, got him to a Super Bowl, 3 playoff appearances, and they fired him. Well, the next guy was 13-19. And John Fox, 14-34. Matt Nagy had a winning record barely. Now this guy, why did you get rid of Lovie Smith at 81-63? I don't get that. 18 games above 500, 3 playoff appearances, 1 Super Bowl appearance. That wasn't good enough for you. And I don't wish ill to people, but the Bears kind of deserve what they got.
Well, there is the ever popular, the grass is always greener on the other side. No matter how good you're doing, you want it to get better. So they had Lovie Smith. They're going to Super Bowl. It's all good, but hey, you know what? Let's get someone better in here. And then look what happens.
They didn't get better.
Coaching to the records. Now they've been so poor. They finally get the number 1 overall pick and some good draft picks the last couple of years. And they're like, okay, this is the years the Bears are going to do something. And now it doesn't work. And they let him go. And so it was probably the way that game ended is how I think they put the
time management. Yeah.
Yeah. It sealed the deal there.
But I don't care if you're a rookie quarterback or not. He should have known better just to call timeout or spike it right away.
Yeah,
but
that's
those four guys
a
alone have 75 wins. Lovie Smith had 81.
Wow.
So, I feel bad for the Bears. I used to like them, but just, yeah.
It's tough times.
But here, guy goes November 12th, he's named the offensive coordinator after Shane Weldon was fired. Now he's named interim head coach. So in 3 weeks, he went from just assistant offensive coordinator to interim head coach.
2 promotions because of other people's failures.
Within a month.
He's sitting in the driver's seat now. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, some local news. The boys made verbal commitments to go for wrestling, both juniors in high school. Friends of the show, I might add.
Yes. This is big news.
Joel and Titan both going down there. Verbal commitments only, but I'm pretty sure that some huge NIL deal comes from somewhere, which I don't know of one big enough to make them go away from somewhere else. So,
yeah,
fun to see them down in Marina Gold next year on the map.
It'll be they're juniors this year, so they got another year to go. Then they'll be with the Gophers. But as twins, they were looking for a place along with their dad, and the family was hoping that they can go somewhere. And they were heavily recruited to wrestle with each other, to go different weight, but on the same team is what they wanted. So luckily enough, they got the Gophers. This is going to be excellent. This is great news.
They're what's the word I'm looking for? They're I'll go blank on the word.
Talented.
No, their uncle went there, so they got anyway, the prestige. They got like some stroke there. They got family that went there in the past.
Yeah. Well, I think the Gophers, the Gopher and the wrestling department, athletic department, do know the Friederichs family really well, and so that is really good to make that. Now, for the tough thing about that, for other people looking to get a scholarship or other people recruiting, the Friederichs come in there with the twins, and now they're taking away 2 scholarship spots. So it's a great thing by the University of Minnesota to do that. But it's not just signing one guy; it's now both of them, and so they'll be at different weights, of course. But it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. What if one is really good, 2 years in after their sophomore season or something, and one isn't cutting the mustard or something? They'll have that awkward discussion to have to go with it. But these 2 are so good that should not happen at all.
Both holding their own too. It's not like they said, well, we want this guy, so sign his brother anyway. That was not part of the discussion at all.
And these guys train year round. These guys train year round, and so their uncle he
was a Gopher
with the state. Their dad, phenomenal wrestler, and so it's a big gene pool. It's a lot of DNA here, and these guys are going to be well worth it. So I'm looking forward to this. We have an interview with them and the family. It was last year around this time, I believe, or maybe in the spring. But look that up on the Sports and Songs podcast and find that out. It's a good show we had.
Breaking news: the Lynx have hired Lindsay Whalen and former Mystics coach Eric. Now, Eric, when he was coaching with the Mystics there, either as assistant or head coach, he went to like 8 or 9 championships or playoffs in a row. Lindsay's won championships. My fear on this is bringing in Eric and Lindsay here is our coach going to be stepping down pretty soon. She kind of get that seat ready because she's been there a while. She's got the GM title too. She wants to do Olympic coaching stuff.
Oh, Cheryl Reeve, yes.
Cheryl Reeve, is she kind of like grooming the next one? Is it because she wants to do more GM stuff? Have these 2 come in? I mean, your team made the finals last year. It's not like you got to go, we need to bring in some hard-nosed coaches and get these young ladies going. No, you got a nice young squad there that made it to the finals. I think she's just getting these coaches set here because I think Coach Cheryl might be wanting to, this is just a guess, step away from it, do more GM stuff, do more Olympic coaching stuff. I don't know. But we shall see. Very exciting. In fact, there's pictures. Both of these 2 were at practice already today. Hit the floor running.
Good, well deserved.
Quick plug here for the state tournament coming up. There, get your maps out. Start getting your routes ready. Watch Broughton and Gaylord. There we go.
Should be fun stuff. We will be covering that, of course, next around August and September is when this
We're going to have hot stove on it next month. We're not messing around here. Whoops. The 1989, Ricky stole 283 more bases than anyone else in baseball. He didn't make his debut in 1979. Ricky Henderson.
Wow.
For 20 years, he stole 283 more bases than anyone else. And he gave them all a 9-year head start. That
I like that stat. That's very interesting. I've never seen that.
Just mind-boggling, the numbers he put up. I was doing some looking up stuff on my Windows 98 today and the other day.
Yes.
Here's some things I came across, or across, depending who you talk to. Okay, this one scratches my head. This was just a recent poll, too. Biggest bandwagon teams for the NFL, not real surprising, Kansas City, Dallas, San Francisco, Seattle, and New England. Major League Baseball, Dodgers, Yankees, Braves, Phillies, Astros. No surprise. NHL, Rangers, Panthers, Vegas, Boston, and Edmonton. Not a surprise. NBA, Oklahoma City, Golden State, Boston, the Lakers, and the Timberwolves? Did I miss something? The Timberwolves are one of the biggest bandwagon teams in the NBA?
Well,
I mean, yeah, we had that good run last year, but really? Maybe not following the NBA so much. Am I missing something?
The locals. Well, here's what I know. If you ask any high school student or junior high kid that loves sports or any kind of athletes, they love the Wolves. They love the Timberwolves. I don't get it. I don't buy it. We're in a different generation.
Right.
My only thing here was that I could see that they're in the top 5 for bandwagon teams, but the way they have it listed here is first.
They're the bandwagon team.
They have it listed as the number 1 overall, which is, if they had them 4th or 5th, I would not be surprised. But first,
and this is not a site that got this.
Yeah, we're out of touch. We don't cover a lot of NBA here, Andy. Yeah. Lakers, Celtics, I can see that. But the Wolves, they had the one good year. There's a lot of big name players. That's why the fans like it. But are they the number 1 overall in the nation? That's interesting. That's interesting.
I mean, we get a lot of media press of them here all the time, but I guess this guy gets lost because it's local, so you don't think twice about it, Yeah,
same here.
All right. Tennis player. World number 2, Inga accepts a 1-month ban for doping.
Okay.
1 month. Could if the other pro sports did that? Oh, sorry, Barry Bonds, you doped for a month. You doped, yes, and a month out. Okay. Sorry, Sammy Sosa, we found these needles and this powder in your locker. You got to sit out a month. Okay. World number 2 for tennis. Just sit out a month. Think about what you did wrong. What are we doing wrong in the other sports here? What am I missing? What? She accepts it. It's a 1-month ban. Every other sport, you'd be barred from the sport, barred from their Hall of Fame, barred from any post-game interview job or anything else. Tennis, it's a 1-month ban, by golly.
Interesting.
Let's go back in the time machine a little bit here.
Okay.
Mr. Peabody and Sherman. This is what Metropolitan Sports Complex in Bloomington was supposed to look like. Met Center, home of the North Stars. Met Stadium, home of the Twins, Vikings, and Kicks. But there was supposed to be a stadium for Vikings and Kicks only. There was supposed to be a third stadium there. And that never happened. There was supposed to be 3 of them there. That's just a little history lesson for you there, because we're here to educate.
Yeah, and this was news to me when I saw this come up. I don't think it was brand new. I think I may have remembered it, but this was in the 60s. So it was before we were born. They built the 2, and the 3rd they just scrapped because they didn't
never got around to it.
They never got around to it. So this would have been, I think, in their wildest dreams, maybe, is what the plan was. But I don't know how serious this would have or ever was.
Right. I don't know if it was a financial thing why it didn't happen or what the deal was, but oh, wow.
It's a nice setup, though, just to see it that way.
Okay, here's your homework assignment. What if college football did it like an NIT bracket style thing?
Oh, yes.
So they have their one tournament. They've gotten, 12 teams now?
Yes, 12.
So instead of all the other bowl games, they kind of made that a 16-team bracket. Still played them in the other cities like the bowl games go. But if they kind of did a NIT bracket type situation, just saying, you got the sponsorships for the bowls.
It's good water cooler talk.
Yes.
It's just all the extra weeks of playing. Now, then again, right now in basketball, the NIT is an invitational, so you can turn down the bid or accept the bid. Maybe be the same kind of deal there, but you could have that second tier. The problem is whoever would be the first team out of the big tournament in football probably would just run the table on this other event.
But you couldn't do both. You couldn't be in both.
No, but the like right now, I think when they do the brackets, Alabama and Clemson have now fallen out. If the season were to end today, they would be the number 1 and 2 seed of this NIT, and these other schools I don't think would have a fighting chance. But it would be interesting to see a tournament like this.
Yes. Let's see what else I got here. I got some other stuff here. What's going on? I think maybe that is all I got.
Is that the end?
That is all I got, sir.
Okay. The other thing I was going to mention, so D3 football, Andy, we're at the end of the season for D3 as well. So this is this is the low end of college, but still very, very good. Bethel and St. John's are still in it for Minnesota teams. This is nationwide. Now, this is nationwide tournament. If they win this weekend, because they also play Saturday. Big day is Saturday for college football. Bethel do not play St. John's, but they're both still in it. If they win, they'll be into the Elite 8 of Division 3. Division 2, like we said, Mankato State, Bemidji are in it. They're going to play Saturday. The winners there will go to the Final Four. The FCS is, we got North Dakota, NDSU in there, SDSU, South Dakota, Montana State, Idaho. A lot of those teams are still in it. Those winners of this coming weekend will then be in the Elite 8. So the 16 teams left in the FCS will get down to 8. The other group in Division 3 will be 8. That'll be 4 in Division 2. So the question I have now with this college football is for the big schools, the Division 1, the FBS, is that the regular season is essentially now done. The Gophers finished 7-5. We had a bunch of predictions at the earlier of the season. We may have to have those same folks on and go through game by game to see where the mix-up was and which ones we had right versus not. But they ended 7-5. 6 is bowl eligible, so the Gophers will be going to a bowl game. Now, there's 18 teams in the Big Ten. So this is the first year. We just completed the regular season of the first year of having 18 teams in the Big Ten. The Gophers essentially finished the season tied for 7th. There's no legends and leaders. There's no West or East anymore. They're all just in there together. They got tied for 7th place. So they're in the middle of the hunt. There's 5 teams in the top 25 ranking in the Big Ten. And so once again, it's the powerhouse, the Power 4 conferences is what make up basically the top 25. And so 5 are in the top 25 ranking. Oregon's, taking everyone by storm. They're undefeated. So Gophers did well. They'll be in a mid-level or a mid to higher level tier bowl game or an average level tier. I don't know what.
Straight bowl.
That should be
that level of bowl.
It'll be at that same level again. So the tournament is the top 12. And so what we have this next weekend is all the conference championships games. So 10 conferences of the in the FBS. There's 10 conferences. They all play this weekend. There's 3 games Friday night, and the remaining 7 are all through the day Saturday. So once again, whether it's D3 you like to follow, or D2, or the FCS, or even the FBS, this weekend is college football. And so after this weekend, the conference champions will be determined. They'll be able to put out the final rankings and put this playoff grid together, which will be very interesting. So once again, 10 games this weekend in just the FBS.
And a lot of teams at Division III are undefeated still. They have
there's a lot.
Dozen teams are still undefeated there.
So the rivalry weekend's over. The regular season is all done. Some of these are played at home sites. Most of them are at neutral sites. But along with the D3, D2, and all the college, it's big weekend for college football. Very fun to watch this time of the year because most of these are outdoors. It's now December. It gets to be very interesting. And I think next week is the Army-Navy game.
Yes.
Am I okay? Yep. So we're getting to the end of the season there with that as well. So that's all I've got for football. The Vikings won on a close game. They're now 10-2 after 12 games. They're in the top 5. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the final stretch run. But this weekend, the focus will really be college football. This will be the focus.
The Vikings have the top spot non-division winners. So they play the lowest of the division winners. So right now they'd be playing Atlanta at 6-6, but Atlanta winning the division would be a home game for Atlanta.
So many weeks to go to be very interesting, but beginning of the season, a lot of the Vikings fans gave the estimates at 6, 7, 8 wins, maybe. I don't think many, if any at all, had double digits. Now they're in the double digits with 10, with some winnable games to go yet. So very interesting season this will be. Local college, Andy, Lehigh, women's college, Lehigh, notably known over the last several years as a lot of big hotspot for Minnesota natives to head out there. This year, I did check the roster. There are 3 Minnesota natives on that Lehigh women's basketball team. Kaylee Van Epps, of course, local from Chaska. We've been following her. This will be her senior year. The team is 6-2 right now. And I think there's a senior and 2 juniors. So no underclassmen there for Minnesota. So this might be the last couple of years of the old
Minnesota
run there over in Lehigh. They did get a new coach they promoted within, and a couple of years ago they have a new head coach. So I don't know if that's got something to do with it or not, but there's only 3 out there yet. In a couple of years, those will be gone. So we'll keep monitoring them as well.
Paige Beckers is lighting it up for UConn.
Yes. This will be fun to watch her. The trivia question, Andy, is Aaron Rodgers' birthday today. How old is the young man? Do you know?
Let me guess here. I'm going to think. He's probably not as old as he looks. I mean, he looks grizzled, and that's just the game beating you down.
Veteran. You see the image with the big, long, burly beard, the gray beard. But how old is the man? Do you know?
Yeah. I'm going to say 37.
The answer is 41. Aaron Rodgers is 41 years old today. If you went ahead and looked it up, that's fine. But if you waited till the end of the show, hats off to you. Happy birthday to Aaron Rodgers. He is phenomenal athlete. Won the MVP in the NFL 4 times. And if you watch the latest in the NFL with the Jets and everything that's going on, you'll hear what how awful of quarterback he is. Yes, the man's 41 years old. You can't expect too much, but in his heyday, the guy was phenomenal.
That's fun to watch.
Fun to watch. Fun to watch. We'll have more next week with all these results of the football coming together here over the weekend, and we'll have more next week on this time, Monday night.
More hockey talk coming up too. Hockey's getting going.
Yes, NHL talk as well for next week. Have a good one.